Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to give you a general overview of the Necromancer class. I will talk about each individual skill and also showcase both of the morphs. If you want Necromancer build videos, make sure to check out the links in the description. Once Elsweyr launches, I will have builds for both PvE and PvP on YouTube and on my website. Anyway, let's get started. Gravelord skill tree, the Colossus ultimate. We have the Pestilent Colossus, which deals disease damage, and each smash will actually increase the damage. The other morph, Glacial Colossus, basically stuns the enemies. Now, this ultimate is freaking strong because it applies major vulnerability to any enemy hit for 3 seconds. That means they will take 30% more damage. That's crazy. It costs 225 ultimates though, keep that in mind. Okay, let's check out how they look. You can see the radius is quite big. And the glacial one, same size. Looks slightly different, and this one stuns. Flame Skull. You shoot the skull at the enemy, every third cast will deal 20% more damage. We have a stamina morph, Venom Skull. Deals poison damage, and casting any Necromancer ability counts towards the third cast. The Magicamorph Ricochet Skull basically lets the skull bounce off to nearby enemies. When we look at the skull, you will see 1, 2, 3, big skull. You see the third cast was the big skull. And here we have the other morph, basically like blue now, and it follows the same pattern basically. This here would just bounce off to other enemies. Blast Bones. This shoots a skeleton at the enemy and it will explode. There's also a Stamina Morph, which deals disease damage, and the enemy will receive reduced healing when he's hit. The Magicamorph Stalking Blast Bones deals more damage the longer it chases the target. This here's the other morph, and another cool feature about this skill is when you're further away, it will actually jump towards the enemy to close the gap faster. Boneyard, this is an AoE ability that deals frost damage. The cool thing about this is, when you consume a corpse on cast, you will deal 20% more damage with this. It also has a synergy attached to it. This morph here reduces the resistance of enemies in the area, and the second morph, you are allowed to use your own synergy, especially useful as a tank, which uses Alcast, for example. When I look at this, it looks like this. Now when I actually throw a skeleton, which creates a corpse after it explodes on the ground, I can use it and it will consume the corpse to deal increased damage. The second morph, same thing. And here, if you want, you can use your own synergy. Voila. Skeletal Mage. There's 2 morphs. You have a Skeletal Archer for a stamina character. Deals physical damage. The Archer will deal more damage with each attack. The Magicka morph is a Skeletal Arcanist. The Mage deals damage to all enemies around the initial target. We can shoot, and then he will actually start fighting against him. And each hit will deal more damage. And the Arcanist morph, which looks like this. When we start fighting, this will happen. Kind of small AoE damage. Also, once this monster dies, it will leave a corpse on the ground. Shocking Siphon. To activate this ability, you need a corpse on the ground. There's also a Stamina morph. Now this deals disease damage. The corpse explodes at the end of the siphon, dealing additional damage. And the Magicka morph restores Magicka while siphoning the corpse. As you can see, the cool thing about this, while slotted, your damage done is increased by 3%. That's quite a lot, actually. When I use my Blast Bones, it explodes, and then I can use the ability. It looks pretty cool. Now, once it's over, it will actually explode. There we go. The Magicka morph, same thing. I drain and it looks slightly different. Pretty cool animations. Bone Tyrant is the tanking skill line. We have the Bone Goliath. Once you transform into this, you get an additional 30,000 health, which is kinda crazy. And then your light attacks also restore health, same as your heavy attacks. Pummeling Goliath, you gain an AoE bash attack, whereas with the Ravenous Goliath, you gain an aura that drains nearby enemies of their health. This costs 250 ultimate points, so it's quite expensive. And yeah, my cute Zork, or my cute mage, is gone. That's basically how it looks, the bash AoE attack. It's kind of like a cone. The other morph. You see it has like a aura around him that will drain the enemy's health. It's an AoE attack. As you can see, you will keep all your like weapons and abilities. So you legit just transform into this and you can still use all your other abilities. Death Scythe. This hits the enemy for magic damage and it also heals you for the first enemy hit. The heal can grow. There's a stamina morph, Rinus Scythe, which prevents enemies from healing. It's only a small amount, basically 2000 heal absorption. But this sounds pretty strong, especially for PvP. Hungry Scythe, you will gain heal over time on top of the heal you get for the first enemy hit. And the other morph. Bone Armor gives you Major Ward and Major Resolve, increasing your resistances, and also creates a corpse when the effect ends. Beckoning Armor pulls in ranged enemies, so it functions like an automatic chain. Whereas Summoner's Armor reduces the cost of your Necromancer summon abilities. The other morph. Bitter Harvest. Here, while slotted, your damage taken is reduced by 3%. And also, you need a corpse on the ground, so you can actually pull ultimate from the corpse and give it to you. Deaden Pain gives you major protection, whereas Necrotic Potency increases the ultimate gained per corpse. Here we will get 6 ultimate. Let me create the corpse. Then drain it. So you see there's like a ball coming towards us. And the ultimate morph looks similar, but it gives you ultimate back. Bone Totem applies minor protection to you and your allies for 8 seconds. After 2 seconds, the totem will also fear enemies. We have the Remote Totem morph. Can be summoned up to 28 meters away. And then we have the Agony Totem. Allies can activate the synergy to damage and apply minor vulnerability. Other morph. Grave Grasp. This applies a snare and some other effects to either your allies or the enemy. We have Ghostly Embrace. This can immobilize targets. And Empowering Grasp can empower allies and strengthen your summons. And here we have the Empowering one. Looks slightly different. Living Death Healer Skill 3, Reanimate. This resurrects allies. We have a renewing animation. You restore magic and stamina for each ally you resurrect. 5,000 magic and stamina. That's quite a lot. And then we have Animate Blast Bones. You consume other corpses in the area and summon Blast Bones. You see the area is huge. Blast Bone morph requires corpses on the ground. You see it will kinda be the same ability as this one here from the Gravelord. Render Flesh. You sacrifice your own power to heal somebody in front of you, and it applies minor defile to yourself. Resistant Flesh Morph grant resistances to the target equal to half the amount healed, or consume a corpse to heal a second target. Expunge. This is a tool to remove negative effects, but it actually costs you health. Also, while slotted, the cost of all your abilities are reduced by 3%. Expunge and Modify. You restore magic and stamina for each negative effect removed. Or Hexproof increases the amount of negative effects removed. So I apply a negative effect to myself and then poof, and it's gone. The other morph. Life Amid Death is an AoE heal. You need corpses on the ground, or like consume a corpse on cast to continue to heal you and your allies in the area for 5k health. Renewing Undeath. Consuming a corpse also removes negative effects, and the other one can consume multiple corpses to increase the duration of the heal. This here is with no corpse, and now when I actually activate, or like when I use a corpse, it gives you this big symbol, so it's quite a big AoE. Same thing for the other morph. Next up, Spirit Mender. This is a summon, it heals you, and also creates a corpse at the end. Spirit Guardian morph. Some of the damage you take is transferred to the spirit instead. So it kind of functions like damage mitigation or damage absorption. Intensive Mender morph. The spirit heals for 3 times the amount but lasts half as long. This here is 16 seconds, this here is 8 seconds. And the intensive one. The last ability, Restoring Tether. This functions as a heal over time. You have the braided tether morph. Also heals allies in a radius around you. And Mortal Coil, you restore stamina while siphoning the corpse. Now once again, you can only activate this ability when there's a corpse on the ground. Let's use the braided morph first. That's how it looks. So this is the heal around me, and everybody that stands between me and the beam will also get healed. Other morph that gives me stamina. Looks a little bit different. Those were all the skills. Now let's check out the passives. Reusable parts. When enemy dies within 4 seconds of being damaged by one of your necro abilities, your next summon will be free. So that's actually quite powerful. Death Knell. Increases your critical strike chance against enemies under 25% health by 10%. So the more abilities of this skill tree I have slotted, higher up this will go. Now it's 40%, so you can reach 100% spell or weapon critical and execute fairly easy. Dismember, physical and spell penetration 1500, that's also pretty neat and actually quite a good damage boost. Rapid Rot increases your damage done with damage over time effects by 10%. As you can see, all those passives here are freaking strong in my opinion, especially like those 3. Bone Tyrant. Whenever an enemy you are in combat with dies within 28 meters, you restore 100 magic and stamina. 2 seconds cooldown. We have Disdain Harm, reduces damage you take from damage over time abilities by 10%, while you have a Bone Tyrant ability active. Health Avarice increases your healing received by 2% for each Bone Tyrant ability slotted. Last Gasp increases your max health by 2k. Now this is pretty strong, not necessarily for tanks, but for like healers or damage healers. 2k extra health is crazy in my opinion. Living Death, Curative Curse. While you have a negative effect on you, your healing done is increased by 8%. Near Death Experience. While you have a Living Death ability slotted, your critical strike chance with all healing abilities is increased by up to 20%. So yeah, at basically 1% health, you will get a 20% bonus. Corpse consumption. When you use an ability on a corpse, you generate 10 ultimate points. Has a long cooldown, but also quite strong. Undead Confederate. While you have a Necromancer summon active, your magic and stamina recovery is increased by 300. That's a lot. So you always want some sort of summon active, no matter whether you're a damage dealer, healer, or tank. This was a quick overview over the Necromancer, so you kind of seen all the abilities, etc. I will work on build videos once Elsweyr launches. Few things still might change, keep that in mind. I will also update my website with builds already for the Necromancer, so we're ready to go when the update launches. If you want to check out the new sets or all the Necromancer skills, you can also check out ESO sets or ESO skill book. I will put the links into the description. Anyway, that's it for me now. What is your opinion about the Necromancer? Do you actually like the visuals? Do you like the abilities, passives? Let me know in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that juicy like button. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.